In this video, we're going to review some updates that we've made to the cutout score, harvest, and how that relates to product estimates. So I have a test job here, and it's got 3 products on it. We're going to jump into one. I've already filled out the information, but I wanted to point out that used to you could toggle this back and forth and either enter a percentage or a tonnage. We've eliminated the percentage piece because a lot of people found it difficult to get the percentages correct, so that they would add up to 100, especially when you had a lot of products and you had a lot of changes. So if you just enter your tons, we're going to calculate those percentages for you, and everything should match up and be a lot simpler. So be sure to fill out your estimate tonnage, even if it's just a baseline guess. It doesn't have to be 100%, but at least it'll give you something to start and engage with. And so if you scroll down, you'll see these should all add up to 100% now. Since we're entering tonnage, we're going to take the tonnage, add them all up, and then just take a percentage of the total. So we've added a few columns into this chart to give you a little more detail about how you have your products and jobs set up. We're going to tell you this is your estimated profit per unit for the product. This is your estimated sort or percentage. These are the units you entered in, and this would be your profit based on these units times the unit amount. So we do that all the way down. This is our total job. We've given you a chart over here, a pie chart, to show that product 1 is estimated at 50% cut, product 2 37.5%, the last product 12.5%. So hopefully this helps you get better at estimating and entering those numbers in. And then one of the other big changes we made is to the cutout table here, or cutout screen. So first you'll notice a couple of big changes. So at the top here, if you've entered percents, we're going to give you a percent complete, and we're also going to calculate your cutout score, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. And then we've broken this down into a couple sections. So first we're going to compare your units. What did you estimate and what have you actually cut? And this is just a straight comparison. So if you're early on in the job, your actual is going to be very little compared to your estimate, and that's expected. But it still shows you, kind of how you're progressing along, and also gives you those total numbers. So we know so far we've cut 160 units of P1, 44 P2, 42 of P6, and then that's 3.5, 3.6, and 13% of our estimate. We're going to do the same thing for the profit, and so you'll see the numbers kind of are different a little bit. It's not a straight line on units because we're expecting more dollars per unit. Even though we're expecting less units of P2, it's more per unit. So this is one of our profit makers. We're expecting quite a lot of units at a higher per unit price. So this is going to show basically the same thing as here, except for profit, and then it's going to show our estimated profit versus our actual profit. And so that really should only change if you change your pricing during the job. If you increase your logging rate, then that's going to decrease your profit per unit. Or if you forget to, if you accidentally delete some transactions, then that's going to impact, depending on if you delete expense or profit transactions, that's going to impact your profit per unit. And so that kind of gives you an idea if you're tracking, ideally, if nothing changes, then your estimated profit is going to be the same as your actual profit per unit. And then we're going to see our actual profit versus our estimated profit. We're going to get a percentage on that. And then lastly, the cutout score section here. the cutout score is an attempt to compare your estimated sorts, your percentage sorts, to the current percentage sorts. So, up here we can't really tell how we're cutting out because we're just comparing absolute numbers, what are actually cut versus what we estimated cut. But here what we're doing is we're going to take a percentage of what you are actually cutting and compare that with what you estimated and see how you're progressing currently in the job. So let's break this down. The first section we're going to have our percent comparison. So and notice this table sorted by your profit difference. So right now our P2 is showing that we are negative, and that's because we expected to cut. See, our estimated cut was 37.5%, but we're currently only cutting 17%. And that's a minus 19% difference. And since that's one of our higher profit per units, we're missing out on some profit, and that's what this number is trying to calculate. Conversely, P1, we estimated 50% cut out, but we're actually cutting 64, and so that's higher, and that's not good because it's one of our lower profit units. And so we are showing more profit because we cut more units, but it's a lot like the swing is less than the 192 that we cut here. So we're sort of undercutting right now, and that's what this score is attempting to reflect. And then we can come on down to our last product. It was estimated at 12. We're currently cutting at 17%, and that's a little bit higher, but it's not quite enough. Even though it's a higher profit per unit, it's not quite enough to overcome the swing that we had up here. So it does balance us out a little bit, though, where it helped us catch up. And so we're not really off. There could be a very good explanation for this. Maybe we just haven't gotten into a good stand of trees that would reflect these types of sorts that we want to send to the mill. But if that's not the case, then there could be an issue. This could be an early sign of like, hey, my loader man's not sorting these correctly. We're sending way too many P1 products to the mill and not enough P2. So this report is, like I said, we're tracking like as of today. If the job ends today and these were our sorts, we could expect to be 5% less profit than what we anticipated. So anyway, I hope all that makes sense. As always, let us know if you have any questions. One other thing is we flip over here to the overview. We've updated this section to have, before we had the each product and destination, but now we're just going to sort it by product, and so we give you a little better. And this is that same chart that's on the cutout page, but we've also given you a little progress bar with your percent complete of the total cutout. So 10% out of 2,400, 246 units.